Hello, ladies and gentlemen of the internet and of YouTube. My name is Skajarmas, otherwise known as Tone Shift, and yeah, I'm back from Everfree Northwest. I took some pictures while I was there, just like I did last year, although I didn't take anywhere near as many this year. Not really sure why that is. Maybe I just wasn't quite as impressed with everything this time, not because it was less impressive, but just because I wasn't a gawking tourist who had never been there before. I had been there once before, and so while it was all still very impressive, it wasn't quite as, jaw-dropping. I was a bit more used to it this time, so not as many things were picture-worthy, I guess. I don't know. I feel like I'm making excuses. But yeah, I figured I might as well show you all the pictures I took and recount a few stories. Before I get into all of that, though, a few things to disclaim. First of all, this is very much a stream of consciousness sort of video. None of this is scripted. None of this is pre-written. I'm just going to be going through the pictures I took that I think are worth sharing and just giving my thoughts on them as I am going. And secondly, I want to apologize for the terrible quality of some of these pictures. My phone is ass, but I don't have the money to replace it just now without screwing over a million other things in my life. So a lot of these pictures are super blurry, and for that, I do apologize. Now, with that out of the way, let's go ahead and jump into the first photo, which was of the opening ceremonies, I do believe. I don't really have a whole lot to say about this. It was just the opening ceremonies and special guests, and yeah, I don't really know why I took a picture of this particular part. Yeah, I got nothing to add. Now, okay, this guy. So there was this panel on the first day after the opening ceremonies called Making Friends or something like that. And the basic idea is that everyone went into the room and just kind of stood around in little groups, just talking, saying hello, getting introduced, and every 8 minutes you'd cycle to someone new. And then in the last 8 minutes you'd jump back to whoever you sort of clicked with. This guy right here with the plague mask just walked in as everyone was kind of getting set up and showing up. Didn't say a word, and he had this really slow walk, and he had death metal music playing from his hip. This guy knew how to make an entrance, and I gotta admit, I'm a sucker for plague doctor stuff, so I had to get a couple pictures of him. Here's the other one. It's only very slightly what's the word I'm looking for? It's only very slightly diminished. The effect is only very slightly diminished when you realize he's carrying, is that Ella or Lotus? I don't know. He's carrying one of the spa ladies in his hand. It's just kind of oh, that's not intimidating. Also, you'll notice in the background, that guy with the Applejack hat, yeah, he came in with this big box. It was a Cards Against Humanity box that was taller than he was, and apparently it only had one card in it, but he loaded it up with candy, so he was very popular. There was another person in that particular room. I think I forget her the brony name she had, and I don't want to go spouting out real names here because privacy is a thing. But she pretty much said something that resonated with me, and that was the secret to making friends at conventions: bring candy. And she did. She brought a tin just filled with a bunch of cookies she'd made, and so yeah, a lot of people gravitated towards her, and well, I mean, she wasn't wrong. She demonstrated her point quite clearly. So, props to her. There was also this guy with the Grim Reaper scythe. I just had to get a picture of me about to lose my head to him because, screw it, why not? It was only fitting. Oh, I forgot about this guy. Okay. All right, so. Gather around, kiddies. Uncle Tone has a story for you. So, this guy. Partway through the panel. This guy, I wasn't in his group when this started happening, but he was, I was talking to, I forget who, but I was talking to someone, and all of a sudden in the back of the room, we hear a bunch of laughing. We turn around, and this guy and a couple others have suddenly assumed the T-pose, and more and more people start assuming it, and once this guy realized just how many people were T-posing, he threw his head back with a howl of laughter, and then started doing, the Halo choir theme, and everyone sang along, and I wish I had been fast enough to get my phone out and record video, but by the time I'd actually managed to get the slow-ass thing to load and pull up the camera app, everyone had broken down laughing and the effect was gone, but it was a beautiful moment, and I wish I could have gotten more of it on camera. It was a shame I didn't. After that, I went around for a little while, and one of the panels that kind of stuck out was the head-to-head cannon panel, which was kind of like this game show almost kind of thing, where all those people up there are like writers of some description. You know, like we got Admiral Biscuit, the guy on the far right, I don't remember his name, but like he's done a lot of stuff. The guy on the far left, I also forget his name. I'm sorry, but I had never really interacted with any of you directly except for Admiral Biscuit. But anyway, yeah, so from all of that, my brain just died. All right, sorry. So amidst all this, the whole idea of head-to-head cannon was the guy really far on the left, who's kind of standing up there with all the medals on his necklace and lanyard thing, would present questions to the people sitting at the table, and they would have to give their best explanations. You know, things like the examples given in the booklet of Everfree Northwest was, why can't Scootaloo fly? And one of the things that came up was, how do non-unicorn ponies work with conventional like doorknobs that you would expect to use with hands? The lady with the pink hair right there came up with the suggestion of touch-based magnets. And, that stuck. No one really liked that answer at first, but the second question, which I forget what it was, she couldn't think of anything, so she just went with, I don't know, magnets? And everyone laughed at that, and she just kind of did that for a little while. It just stuck. Her meme was magnets. And I even have a memeified version of this picture lying around somewhere with just that text. I can't find it. No. It's not important, but the point is, it was entertaining. Very much an entertaining scenario. Oh yeah, this guy. I forget his names off the top of my head, but I just kind of kept bumping into him no matter where I went at the convention. He kind of has a tall face, so he's very easy to recognize, and, you know, the velvet on his shoulder kind of gave him away all the time. Friendly Chap. I don't really have much else to say about him. He was really friendly, and I liked talking at him. I would say talking to him, but I tend to ramble. They got a fantastic cosplay here. Very nice. I didn't take as many pictures of cosplays this year as I did last year. Again, partly because they probably just didn't stand out to me quite as much as they did before. Anyways, I do believe this was when the Hooves line panel put on by the Bronies React crew was being set up, and I gotta say, for one thing, 2 hours of Whose Line Is It Anyway was an absolute joy, because Whose Line Is It Anyway is one of my favorite things when it comes to comedy. And watching Jesse Noacking squirm on stage because he hasn't been caught up on the show since like season 3 was kind of pitiful but hilarious at the same time, because oftentimes Noacking was just trying and failing to understand what the hell everyone was even talking about with their prompts. And it was especially funny with like hoedowns and the Irish drinking song. It was just an amazing, fantastic time all around. I loved it to death. Let's hear. Now, at the end of the second day, which is what that was, I was in the the artist and writers hangout, which is kind of this thing that happened at the end of the first 2 days. And while I was just sitting there, hanging out with some people, chatting, there was this guy in like this purple suit that covered his entire body. I don't remember what franchise it was meant to be from. It was like a cosplay of something that I don't know what. But he was like doing little doodles for people on index cards. And I thought back, I remembered from year one how I never got... for those of you who will think back far enough, Everfree Northwest year one, of the first year I went, 2018, in one of the panels, a lot of the new male voices, including the guy who voiced Starswirl the Bearded in seasons 7 and on, I believe, he was one of the people there, and I asked him a question from open mic. I asked him if he could improvise Starswirl the Bearded, being baffled by the mere concept of the Hayburger, and the answer I got was kind of a roundabout and confusing no. Not that I blame him, it's kind of hard to improvise that anyway. But I saw my opportunity to get a baffled Starswirl, and so I asked the purple guy, because he was just taking requests, if he could do that, and this is the result. I'm currently viewing it sideways because that's just how my phone decided to take the picture. I'll be sure to rotate that in my video editor, though, so you can just see it upright. What is this alien food? I'm sorry this picture is so blurry, but there's not much I can do about it at this point. Excuse me. This is David Silver. He's the guy who does Pony Finder, the 5th edition and Pathfinder stuff, supplements for Dungeons & Dragons and Pathfinder that's all pony-based. I would have gotten some more of that. I already have, like, the campaign setting basic, but I didn't have the money. But I mostly got a picture of him and shared it around because I'm pretty sure I did a reading of one of his fan fictions a ways back, and he popped into the server into my Discord server for a while, so just kind of wanted to give him a bit of a shout-out because I did not anticipate seeing him face-to-face. The last set of pictures I took were of the closing ceremonies. The main thing I really have to say about closing ceremonies is I want to give mad props and a big shout out to whoever the girl was who decided to start blowing up balloons and letting them loose into the crowd. It was great because I didn't even see where they were coming from. Just more and more balloons just started appearing while I was waiting for the show to get started. And someone off on like the far left side of the room started gathering up the balloons as they bounced by them, tying them together, and once he had big enough clumps like atoms binding into molecules, he'd release them back into the crowd. And all of a sudden, there was just like 100 freaking balloons all over the place, everyone just popping them back into the air. And once it really started getting chaotic to the point that people were able to spear the clumps on their lightsabers and hook them together with someone's Discord or Deadpool scepter, I hear this from behind and to the left of me. What have I done? Turns out that, of course, obviously someone was blowing up balloons, and now she was... The only way I can describe the facial expression I saw when I turned to look at her was entertained shame. It was like she was both amazed that this had happened, loving it, but ashamed of it at the same time. So like with every single fan fiction I've ever written where I do something bad to the characters. Sorry. So, yeah, I made sure to thank her for that, because watching all those balloons go around was a delightful pastime while we were waiting for the show to start proper. And I've got one more picture here at the convention itself. And I'm so sorry that this one's so blurry. I think there was some grease on my camera lens. I don't know, but it's like all of the convention staff, Props to all of them for all their hard work. I didn't get to thank any of them while I was actually at the convention. But to all of them, mad props, guys. You did a good job keeping all that stuff running. And considering the fact that Everfree Northwest won't be at Seattle, but it'll be in Bellevue next year... Well, I mean, you guys have got your work cut out for you to make sure that all goes smoothly. So good luck, and thanks for all that hard work. Just a little shout out to those guys. I have one more picture that I did not take at the convention. I took it on the way back because this time we actually had clear skies, and I took several pictures of the trip back. I'll see if I can slip a few others in when I'm editing the video together, but in the slideshow I'm currently viewing as I'm recording this audio, I only have the one available. But I took a bunch of pictures of the trip back because we actually had some clear skies, but there was still clouds in the air, adding texture and variety. And so we have beautiful shots like this, where the sun is setting off in the distance and you can see the clouds kind of... I got a lot of beautiful shots of the sunset. Most of the trip, I had the sunset going because it's the Pacific Northwest and around summer-ish time. You get a lot of sunsets, and you get long sunsets, and it's very pretty and very beautiful so long as you can actually see the sky. So I got to see a lot of really pretty sights in the sky on the way back. So just figured I'd take a lot of pictures of that. It was fun trip, but yeah, I don't really have much else to say. Overall, yeah, I had a lot of fun this year, just like I did last year. I attended a lot of panels that had to do with writing. I got to play Tales of Equestria in the tabletop gaming room, the official My Little Pony D&D type, tabletop role-playing game. I got to play that. Very simple rule set, so I'll probably be doubling that. So I'll probably be picking that up at some point. Definitely very simple. I could see a lot of kids having a very easy time getting into that. So yeah, I'll probably be grabbing that at some point when I have the spare money to just throw at hardcover rule books, which I do not have right now. But yeah, I don't really have a whole lot else to say. It was a lot of fun. I had a great time. I hope I can go next year, but things are looking kind of chaotic for the next while. I have this big expensive trip coming up in If all goes according to current plans, October, but we'll see. It may not happen, but I'm planning for it to happen either way. Better safe than sorry, and that's going to be a very expensive trip because I'm going to literally the other end of the continent to visit family, so it's going to be an expensive trip. I got to start saving for that, and with my paychecks as small as they are, it's going to be a long-winded saving project. But, yeah, all in all, I had a fantastic time at Everfree Northwest. I got to meet some nice people. I was recognized by maybe one person, and he was like an excitable gerbil the whole time, and it was kind of scary. But, yeah, fun times all around. So, I don't really have much else to add. If I keep talking like this, I'm just going to be rambling on and on and on, and no one wants to hear me doing that without a good script to go by, so I think I'm going to go ahead and end this video here. So, thank you all, ladies and gentlemen, so much for tuning in, and my voice is a little screwed up right now, so it might be a couple days before I start recording Sparkle in the Darkness or Queen of the Hive again, but I've still got a buffer of a bunch of one-shots I recorded before I left to sort of fill in the gap, so you shouldn't be in for too big of a content drought. Here's to hoping you don't have any of a content drought, but there's only so much I can do, I'm sorry. Anyways, I'll see you guys later. Keep listening. Bye.